Hello everyone and welcome to KYE Talks. I am Sonal Ambekar, your host for this interview. Know Your Entrepreneur is a digital platform where we talk to several entrepreneurs who tell us why they chose not to be stuck to the regular 9 to 5, but they went ahead and did something different. They went ahead and chased their passion. My guest today is Mr. Tarun Choubisa, PhD Electrical Communicating Engineering, ECE, IISc. During his PhD, Tarun developed an algorithm to classify humans and big cats using machine learning. He is the recipient of Mission10X Dale Carnegie certification for high impact teaching skills, and a mentor for change for Atal Tinkering Labs. He was an instructor for the Dream India camp, which follows Summerhill philosophy. He is very passionate about improving the life quality of people by education, awareness, and networking. His venture, Seed2Sapling Education, envisions to create an enriched, joyful, and experiential learning environment for a student. A student becomes knowledge recreator instead of knowledge consumer. They work with schools, teachers, and students to build a culture of learning where skills and attitudes are also valued. Students develop skills like critical thinking, problem solving, adaptability, creative collaboration, empathy, etc. They empower teachers of lower primary to secondary grades to implement constructivist pedagogy, which is a a way of learning. Pedagogy is a way of learning. And they try to do it by implementing constructivist pedagogy aided by inquiry-based learning by providing them the opportunity to experience it. Let's get to know more from Mr. Tarun. Hello, Tarun. Welcome to KYE Talks.
Thanks, Sonal, for the nice introduction, and thanks, KYE, for providing this opportunity.
So Tarun, tell us, how did your journey start? How did you get into this sector of, education? And you started your own venture. You didn't go for a regular, 9 to 5 job that stereotypically people feel more secure and they reach for those things. But you went and did something different. What was your motivation for it?
Yeah. So I think it started long back. So from the childhood, I used to do many different kind of things. And when I joined for engineering, I had a 2 months break, and I and some of my friends were discussing that what all can we do in this 2 months break. And because I come from a village background, we thought that there is a lack of awareness about education. So we said, okay, why don't we do something about it? And we started something called success classes informally there. And we educated different people that what are the different opportunities available.
Right.
And that's how it started. But in between my engineering, there was an opportunity where there was a workshop on entrepreneurship.
Right.
And I think it was a wonderful opportunity to know what all can be done. So it gave me the opportunity to understand that we don't really have to do a job, but we can solve many problems which exist in our society. Right. So I think that was one of the factors which contributed in my motivation.
Right.
And when I was working in IISc, I was doing my PhD there. And almost at the close of my PhD, Pankaj, who is another co-founder of Seed2Sapling Education, he was approached by someone and said that there is a school coming up. Why don't you give us some idea that what all can be done, can be done in this sector? Right. So he approached all of us, and then we started brainstorming and all. And finally, we realized that there's a lot of things can be done. And we were also volunteering there in IISc. So all these factors contributed us taking this opportunity.
It all came together.
Yeah. So we came together, and also we realized that there is really a need to solve this problem. There are so many things which can be done in the education. So I think I will say the knowledge of entrepreneurship, attitude of problem solving, and I will say that this opportunity where we can contribute to the society and solve some of the problems contributed motivating me
hugely, and motivating you. And like you said, instead of finding to do something new, it's important to solve the existing problems, and that is what you went for. So that's wonderful. Tarun, what would you say gives you a sense of accomplishment in your field of work? What gets you going every morning? ऐसे कहते हैं ना, kick मिलता है. इसलिए we feel like doing it. We feel happy while doing it. So what is it for you?
Yeah, so I will say that the methodology which we use, as you have said in the introduction, we use something called inquiry-based learning, a constructivist approach.
Right.
Maybe I will give you a quick example of that. So
Please.
you might have opened a water tap many times, right?
Right.
And once we open the water tap, the water comes out from there.
Right.
Can you recall a couple of experiences, observations with respect to water coming out from the water tap and share with me? Any observation, it can be any observation.
So it depends on the pressure of the water that's coming, and accordingly the water will either flow in one line or it'll spread out something.
Yeah, it is correct. Yeah, that is interesting observation. So that is one interesting observation. What else?
Yeah, I've always wondered as a child that how does a tap actually work? Like when we turn it in one direction, water comes, but you turn it in the other direction, it stops.
Correct.
So I've always been curious about it, but I never asked anyone about it.
Correct. So you see, right? There are so many observations with respect to simple tap, right? I will tell you a couple of more common observations which we get about this particular question. So many of the times students and teachers will say that when we open some of the taps, you will see that it is wider at the top, and as it comes down, it becomes narrower.
Oh yeah. The water flow, right? Yes, it does.
Second observation is that in some of the taps, water doesn't appear to be transparent. It appears to be whitish.
Yes. Fizzy.
So correct. So many observations are there, right? So because we are using this constructivist approach, inquiry-based learning, where many of the questions are open-ended questions. So this question which I asked you, that what are your observations with respect to this, right? There is no single right answer for this. Right. There are many right answers for that.
Right.
And my next response or my next question will depend on your responses. Right? So every time it will move in a very different directions. So it is like a tree, and we will
branches out in all directions. Right.
Yeah, it can go in any direction.
Wonderful. So, and it actually made me think about a tab that we used so much on a daily basis, and this was a really good approach that you made me think about this thing that I use on a daily basis. And somewhere subconsciously, I have thought about these things, but I've never brought it, to my conscious mind or have spoken about it or discussed about it with someone. Very nice. I'm very impressed with this new kind of, way or approach towards education or awareness building, like you said. It's amazing. Would you like to add anything?
Yeah. So here we have seen that we had many right answers for the question I asked, right? So this is called open-ended question.
Right.
And because every time we will get a very different response, we as a facilitator also learning every day. Right. So it is not like a routine thing I am teaching every day. Right. Every day is a new learning for us, also from students as well as from teachers. Right. So that new learning, I think, gives us a kick that, okay, let's go again and do something. We will find out something interesting.
Wow. Wonderfully answered, Tarun. I must say that for a teacher, it's every day is learning. And like you said, that kids are such curious, they have such curious minds that they can really come up with questions that can make you question your beliefs or your thoughts. And that's wonderful.
Just to add there, we have two kinds of questions. Whenever we are discussing with the students and teachers, we say there are two kinds of questions. One is a good question for which we know the answer.
Right.
And the second set of questions are very good questions for which we also don't know the answer.
Don't have answers, yeah. Wonderful.
So many times a student will ask the question and they will say, sir, is it a good question or very good question? They will jokingly ask.
So now they have also understood this, learning technique that they are learning through. And that's wonderful that they recognize it, that there's good questions, then there's very good questions. So then they will always be in a healthy competition that, oh, now I've asked good question. Now I have to run my mind enough to ask a very good question. That's wonderful. So Tarun, as you started on your journey, were there any challenges or obstacles that you faced? And if there were, how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so as I don't come from the business family, as many of this generation entrepreneurs are.
Right.
So I think there was some resistance initially that entrepreneurship is risky, job is easy, we'll get as you said, 9-to-5 job, we'll get the fixed income and happy family. And
the secure kind of a life.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that is a general trend. So there was initial resistance that it is risky. What will happen if it fails?
Yes.
What will you do after that? And all these kind of resistance are there. So when I started this with Pankaj, I didn't tell anyone in my family except my wife.
So no one knew.
She was aware. And, yeah, no one knew.
Only your wife. So she has been your support system throughout.
Yeah. So she is very supportive from the beginning. So she was aware of it.
Wonderful.
But yeah, after some time when we got established a little bit, then I informed my family and now everyone is supportive. They said it's nice. But yeah, initially because it is not their fault because they are also not aware and it is risky also. There is no doubt.
Right. And they would be looking out for you. So obviously.
Correct. Yeah. So because of that affection and all those things, generally this fear is there, right?
Right.
So I think that was the reason, but otherwise they don't
have
anything
well.
against it.
What ends well, what starts well ends well. That's wonderful. So
that was.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that was initially, that was a problem.
But difficult time, right?
Yeah, difficult time. But I think it went well. And because as entrepreneurship itself is like, I will say challenging journey because many things are changing, right? And you have to be very adaptive. Like if you take the example of COVID, right? So that itself was a challenge, I will say. But we also took that as an opportunity also. So like, because most of the things we were doing before COVID was offline, like going to the schools, working with the students and teachers. And we thought initially that this kind of construction of knowledge, where a student and teacher come up with their own knowledge, they construct their own knowledge, may be difficult virtually. It may not be possible. So we were a little skeptical about it. But when we started doing it, we realized that even virtually it can be done beautifully. Right? So like it is very important to pivot. So I think that was again a challenge. The COVID was a challenge, but we took that as an opportunity and now it has opened many doors. So we are in a discussion with the schools, like in schools in Pune, and some of the schools agreed for our program. So now we are going to scale a little bit more. So I think it is more important to see the challenge as an opportunity and use it in our favor.
Rightfully said, Tarun. And I was going to ask you about COVID and its impact, but nice that you yourself told me how there are two ways of looking at a situation. One is positive, one is negative. If you keep focusing on the negative, you're not going to go any further. But if you start looking on the positive side of it, then you will, take a step ahead and you'll go further. And that's wonderful. So what do you feel, Tarun, where do you expect to see your venture in 5 years? Like, what are your business aspirations?
We used to do all these practices initially, like seeing what will happen in 5 years, 10 years and all, planning. But now we have taken a very different approach because we want to make an impact. So we don't want numbers. We want to make an impact. And that's why we believe that it is perfectly fine if we are going slow. But slow and steady wins the rest. So that is what we believe in. So we are going very slowly. So one school at a time. Like when I say one school at a time, it doesn't mean that in a year we work only with one school. We work with a couple of schools, but the approach is that until like we make some difference in that organization, it is not a good idea to just spread out.
You need to concentrate on that one thing and make it like fully efficient, and then you can always multitask with other things. But then how will you concentrate if you have too many things on your plate?
Correct. So that's why we are like, if we are with a school, we believe that at least 3 to 4 years we should be with that school. Because if we are working on the skills, you have seen, we are working on different skills like observation skills, right? The questioning skill, right? And so all these skill building take time. So it is not like an easy job that, okay, I can explain you and you have learned. We are working on the skill and attitude building. It takes time. So that's why we want to go slowly. I think
the children and students, they're at a young age, they're very adaptive, but they also take a little bit of time to, understand the process and get used to it. And I think that's what you are saying, that is the time that we need to give the students their space and their time to, get adjusted to this new way of learning. And then it goes on, right? Then it flows smoothly, right?
So it will become a habit.
Right. To make it into a habit and a good habit. So they start questioning things and they don't just, ratta nahi maarte.
Not only like observation, we are converting it into a question, but questioning the textbook, questioning the teacher, questioning the facilitator, questioning us, questioning the authority. like we have to question each and everything. If we are talking about critical thinking, it is not just about questioning randomly, right? We have to question the authority also. Even Buddha said, right? Buddha said that don't believe on what I am seeing. You question each and everything, and if it suits
and
your
follow
business,
what you believe, right? Right. And I think it is time that we, encourage this critical thinking instead of teaching our younger generations to just blindly follow what is taught to us by our ancestors. They need to start questioning things. They need to start seeing what works for them best in the current scenario, and then go ahead with it. Either go ahead with that particular old thinking or adjust with a new kind of a thinking. And that's very important.
There are many good things. In our tradition, there are many good things. But if you don't give the reasoning behind it, slowly we will lose them.
Blind faith. Then you don't even know why you're doing it. You're just doing it because someone has taught you to do it. And that's not very smart to do. That's the opposite of smart. Right. So, Tarun, how would you say has this venture changed you as a person? See, because every journey that we embark on, it teaches us a lot. It changes us a lot. So what would you say are the changes that you've seen in yourself?
Very nice question, actually. So if we see here, we are talking about education.
Right.
When we are talking about education, obviously learning will come, right? And we have to understand what is learning. Right. So when we say learning, it is defined in many different ways. Right. So one of the definition of learning is change in your behavior.
Right.
Okay. So if there is no change in your behavior, it means you have not learned.
You're not learning, right?
So definitely there is a lot of learning during this journey.
Right.
Like, I will say I am kind of an introvert person, but after this journey, I am talking to many people and looking at different kind of roles,
right?
Like sales, marketing,
right.
Relationship, many different aspects, right? So I think I'm learning on many different aspects other than the academics.
Right.
So I generally focus on academics, but yeah, now there is an opportunity to learn in these different domains.
With other skills also, yeah, right.
Correct. Also, it has also changed me personally because we have to understand that. So it is not like there is some problem and we just go and solve this problem.
Right.
We have to understand that what other people are thinking. Where are they? So when generally we say that teachers don't know things and they don't want to do it, but that is not really the case. There are many teachers who want to really change the system, right?
Yeah, right. They want to make a difference. Yes.
Correct. They want to make a difference, right? So it is not like we just think that go with this mindset that teachers are not good and we have to change them. If we go with that mindset, that is not a correct way to look at the problem. They are there to change things. So we just have to understand what are their needs, right? And if we can facilitate those needs and work together, then I think we can bring a better change in the system.
Rightfully said.
It has changed me in that way also.
Right. Teamwork, right. Like once you understand what your teammate needs or what the teachers that you're talking to, what they need, and if you provide them and if you fulfill their need, then why wouldn't they want to change the system? I mean, they become teachers so they can, impart knowledge to their students, so they can make a difference. They can shape a child's life. That is what a teacher, chooses this profession for, right? Why wouldn't they want to make that change? Why would they want to lose that opportunity to make a change? Right. Correct. So Tarun,
just to add to that aspect, we were discussing with some of the teachers and one teacher said, "Sir, I always wanted to be unique, but I didn't get the opportunity and the support. But after working with all of you, I got that opportunity and support. So I am really happy."
Wonderful.
So once we listen to those kind of things, it brings so much of satisfaction and joy in us. Like it gives again that kick. Let's go and do it.
Right. Nice. Amazing, Tarun. I wish you all the best for the good work that you're doing, the good kind of a change you're trying to bring in the society, and how I can see how good it is going to be the future generations. If they start, with critical thinking, if they start questioning things and, finding their own belief, it is going to be good for them only in the future. So Tarun, coming to the end of this talk, what would be your message to budding entrepreneurs? People who have ideas, innovative ideas, or maybe solutions to existing problems, but they are just too scared to, leave that secure job life and to take a step in the direction of entrepreneurship and starting something on their own. How would you encourage them?
I will say take risk. Like without taking risk, we can't do anything.
So I think
that is the most important thing. But yeah, taking risk individually may be challenging. So I will say that if you have a good team whom you can work with, that will give you a lot of support, not only support in terms of implementation, but lot of support in terms of moral support also. Right? So we have a wonderful team at Seed2Sapling Education. So Pankaj is there, who is another co-founder, and then we have Shiv, Meenal, Shravan, Ashwin, and like because of all of them, the S2S is what S2S is today.
Everyone enthused of education and spreading awareness. That's wonderful. Thank you, Tarun, for coming here on KYE Talks and sharing your insightful thoughts and your interesting journey. Thank you for encouraging budding entrepreneurs out there to, take that one step, take that risk and, try to make a difference. And it happens. With time, with perseverance, it happens. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Sonal. And thanks KYE again for providing this opportunity. Thanks a lot.